So good, so good, so good.
Ready to rack to school and save big? Get to your Nordstrom Rack store today for thousands of deals from just $20.
Because I want to look fresh.
How did I not know Rack has Adidas?
I got a new backpack.
Score everyone's favorite denim, sneakers, boots, and activewear from Nike, Levi's, Steve Madden, Madewell, and Free People. Great brands, great prices. Everyone's got a reason to rack. Shop Nordstrom Rack and make it the best school year ever.
This Friday, Jamie Lee Curtis and Lindsay Lohan are back to switch things up in Disney's Freakier Friday.
OMG, yes.
It's an absolute riot,
Woo!
and the only movie that can be described as
So much weirder than the last time. What last time?
it's the frequel
You ready?
we've been waiting for.
That absolutely slays.
What deeply out of touch old person came up with that?
You did.
Wow.
Don't miss the comedy event of the summer for all ages. Disney's Freakier Friday, in theaters this Friday. Get tickets now. Rated PG. Parental guidance suggested.
This episode is brought to you by the world's first reposado from Tequila Herradura. Made with slow-cooked, hand-harvested agave sealed into oak barrels and aged 11 months. Before being enjoyed in your glass. Experience the world's first reposado. Tequila Herradura. Please drink responsibly. Responsibility.org. Tequila Herradura. 40% alcohol by volume. Imported by Brown-Forman, Louisville, Kentucky. Herradura is a registered trademark. Copyright 2025 Brown-Forman Corporation.
Pie in the Sky Media. This series contains adult language and descriptions of graphic violence throughout. Listener discretion is advised.
And we're back. 3, 2, 1. Hello and welcome back, Criminal Mischief Nation, to another bonus episode of Criminal Mischief with Carolyn and Branden. With me, as always, is the great Carolyn Osorio in the wonderful, what is that, a burnt ember top you're wearing today?
Yes.
It's nice. It's nice.
Thank
It's a good
you.
color. You don't normally wear an orangish hue like that, so that's nice.
I actually love this color. I love the
Yeah.
pumpkin color. Yes.
Oh, pumpkin. See?
Pumpkin,
I missed
baby.
I missed
Yeah.
that. It's definitely pumpkin. 100%.
It's a pumpkin.
Okay.
It's a pumpkin.
All right. How was your weekend and your week?
I had a fabulous weekend. On Friday, we went to this spa that just does it right. Oh my
Nice.
gosh, it was so great. The only thing is that you can't talk, which is always hard for my daughters, because they want to just they don't want to not talk, right? But it was fabulous. It was so good. How about
That's
you?
great. Very long weekend. Another volleyball tournament weekend.
Where?
So I have two daughters. They're 2 years apart, and they play for two different club teams that are in different age ranges, obviously. And so the tournaments, there's only been one tournament where they were there together, and that was in Vegas. And so this weekend, I don't know if you're familiar with the Southern California area, but Temecula is a really, really kind of pretty kind of bedroom community north of San Diego, about an hour, 2 hours south of Los Angeles. And San Bernardino is due east, inland in the Inland Empire, about 60, 70 miles. So if LA is one point, make a right triangle. Okay.
Mhm.
San Bernardino is east, Temecula is south.
Got
And
it.
so my wife and I just split up. We did one day and one the I was in Temecula and San Bernardino. My wife was in San Bernardino and then Temecula. And it's 5 a.m. get ups. You got to be on the court at 7, and then you're there until 2 or 3. And then, but it was great. And I just love watching the girls compete, and they have great coaches and great teams and great families, and we're really lucky. And then to top it all off, my extraordinarily talented sister-in-law is a cinematographer. And she was the director of photography on the Blue Angels movie in IMAX that's out right now, that opened this weekend. So we went to the premiere of that, and it was just terrific. So the photography in it. I mean, it's like I said, it's a propaganda movie to get people to join the Navy, but at the same time,
Well, they do it every year here for Seafair, and nobody
sure.
says anything about propaganda. Everybody's like, yeah.
Yeah, well, I mean, listen, I've worked with 2 different Navy SEALs, okay?
Mm-hmm.
Um, and they're both my age, maybe a year or 2 older, so solidly Gen X, okay? And they said, I joined the Navy the day after I saw Top Gun. Both of them said it. So
Mm-hmm.
it's the greatest propaganda movie of all time, Top Gun. Everybody wanted to be Tom Cruise, wanted to fly jets, and both of these guys wound up not in the air, but in the water as Navy SEAls, you know?
Mm-hmm.
But so hopefully this will do something like that, because it really makes it look amazing. And it is. She didn't really have to dress it up that much. I mean, what they do is so incredible.
Was it
And
super loud in the IMAX? Because that was the one thing about the Top Gun, the second one, that was like, oh my gosh, my ears are like vibrating.
no, there was one part of it where I jumped out of my seat. There was one loud jump scare where you felt like a plane was in the theater coming an inch over your head.
Oh
Okay.
my gosh.
That was the only time. The rest of it was very, very much a human story. You really get to know the pilots and who they are and how it works, and the history of the Blue Angels and all that. And it was really great. I'm not normally that kind of a military documentary guy, but man, I loved it. I hope
Well, you
everybody.
know what? They play it at the IMAX here, where our story takes place. That's where they have like
There's an
all
IMAX
that.
theater there.
Yeah, so maybe I'll take the kiddos to go see it, because
Yeah.
that's good.
So speaking of where the story takes
Yeah.
place, so we're in the post World's Fair Seattle.
Yeah.
Okay.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
So I just did an episode of The Devil Within about the World's Fair in Chicago in 1893.
The Devil in the White City.
Yeah,
Oh,
Dr.
yeah.
H. Holmes.
Yeah.
And the more you dig into it, the more you realize he really didn't do that much in Chicago. That a lot of it was a result of yellow journalism at the time. Like,
Really? I mean, what about all those like secret rooms and like,
wasn't
no,
true. Not true.
really?
Yeah, not true. Of his 9 victims,
Mm-hmm.
only 1 murder victim was from his time in Chicago, which was crazy. 2 women died in Chicago, a
Mm-hmm.
mother and her daughter, but the mother's death was ruled accidental at his hands, because he was a doctor. He was a failed, a botched abortion attempt, and she died.
Oh my gosh.
And then the daughter was asking too many questions, so he killed her and buried her in the basement. But everyone else that he killed was on this weird kind of cross-country kind of rampage that he did. But, you know, what I was really interested in was the World's Fair. Back then, that one was called the Columbian Exposition, because it was the 400th anniversary of Christopher Columbus's discovery of America, or discoveries in air quotes. And man, God, everything that they did in the city was so great. And you know what? I started the episode. What do you think? All right, where do you think started the episode?
Well, since you said that it was about the World's Fair and not so much the murders, the historical stuff, then, I mean, I don't know. When I think of reading the book Devil in the White City, which I read and I loved, I mean, just what it took to make that happen. So maybe something related to like the landscaping or like
I went back 20 years and the Chicago Fire. The Chicago Fire basically burned the fucking city to the ground.
Yeah.
And then 20 years later, they win the bidding for the World's Fair, which is incredible, an incredible comeback for the city.
But it was grueling, like the whole thing. And that's the thing about the one in Seattle, is that they actually made money, because a lot of these World's Fairs, they don't make money, because
like the Olympics or the World Cup bids, the cities, you don't make money. You hemorrhage cash. So that's exactly what I wanted to ask you, because you weren't around yet. But stuff like the Space Needle, right? You know, like the World's Fair that was in New York. Yeah.
What's
There's
crazy
buildings. Go ahead.
is that before we had kids, we lived in Lower Queen Anne, and I used to walk through we literally lived in the backyard of the Seattle Center. And so I would walk through the Seattle Center, much like Susan Galvin, but I would take the monorail. So I'd take the monorail into the city, and then, you know, or ride my bike. So those were kind of my two, or walk. But but then I would always have this thing where, and we only had one car. We had two cars, but we parked the other car at, my mom or my husband's mom's house because the parking was just hell. It was just awful. So anyway, when I would go out with friends after work, then I would be in Susan's situation of like, okay, I got to get home. And do I want to take the monorail? How am I going to get there? This is like before Uber. And it was just kind of like, white knuckling it big time. So I really, it's very much not the same, but like all the monuments, all the pieces are still there. It's still like a place where people go, and they don't have the rides anymore, but they have other stuff like Paul Allen's music,
Right.
yeah. So, I mean, it's still a happening place. Absolutely.
So what's left from the World's Fair in Seattle other than the Space Needle and the Seattle Center?
Well,
Because you
then,
said that
the
there's
monorail.
IMAX theaters now at the Seattle Center. So they've obviously been.
Yeah, it's like the
further into-
Pacific Science Center is still there. The IMAX is hooked up to that. I mean, I think that the pathways are all, I mean, it's all very much, I think the structure of it is all there. There's a big, like really cool dome. I'm totally spacing on what it's called, but water shoots out of it. And it's amazing. We bring our kids there all the time. I mean, it's a great place to go. Like I could see Susan just loving it, just every weekend, just walking through it. It's just a part of, everything is there. I mean, that's the whole thing about living in the city.
Such a point of pride, right?
Oh, absolutely.
Is there water frontage near there, like on Puget Sound?
Down the street. It's just blocks away. And you've got the Pike Place Market, is probably like half mile away. Wow. Maybe more, But I mean, Seattle is an absolute beautiful city, and that really put Seattle on the map. Very forward thinking, very Boeing with the aerospace and all of that. So and shooting Elvis, that movie there. I mean, it really was a magical time, and I think that that's what drew her there. Can you imagine living in Spokane and seeing this movie and seeing all the hype and like, yeah, I want to be there. I mean, so many years later, obviously the allure of Seattle, is a great city. Obviously, I'm a fan.
Yeah, of course. Okay, so Susan Galvin, she's 20 years old.
Mm-hmm.
And so, like, you were a 20-year-old in Seattle, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so what's, I mean, sure, separated by a generation and a half, but still. Because the detective was like, she would go down there. She was like maybe going to meet a boy there or going on dates or doing, she worked there.
Mm-hmm.
She also worked for the police department.
Yeah, she was a records clerk for the police department. So she worked for the city of Seattle Police Department. And yeah, I mean, it's like I'm sure she lived in like a brick, brownstone. I mean, they were all over Seattle. That's when I lived there. That's what we lived in. And it's like, it was just like, I don't know if you saw the Singles movie, but that brick, I mean, that's exactly what Seattle used to look like. All those old brick buildings. And honestly, in the 90s, that's why so many musicians came to Seattle, because it was really cheap to live there, because they had all these, old buildings, and it was before tech had kind of changed the landscape of it. But, it was just a place to be, and Seattle was this epicenter for all the suburbs. Seattle's the place to go, all those little bars and shops and everything.
Yeah. I remember Seattle. My first real kind of like introduction to Seattle was the movie War Games.
Mm-hmm.
They were in Seattle and they were proud of being in Seattle. I'm like, oh, Seattle's a place. Okay, great.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. All right. So she's 20 years old. She's working for the police station, or the police department. And and she was murdered in an elevator.
God. And then not found for days,
So a valet at work hits the elevator button and finds a body.
Yeah. So in the parking garage, it had been closed for 3 days because there was no events. And okay, they're bringing open the doors and they go inside. The elevator number 1, press the button, and there they find her. But she'd been missing for days.
So one of the things that I mentioned, we spoke briefly earlier, I told you that I really enjoyed the episode. And one of the things was that from where did they did the forensic team draw their inspiration to do such a good job?
I mean, I think that anecdotally, reading between the lines, I think it was so shocking, and they had nothing, and they were like, we are going to make sure that we process this scene meticulously and perfectly. Like, as to, there was no, as the detective said, there was no processes in place about how you keep, clothing, victims' clothing. And so I think that the people that were assigned to the case were just meticulous about it. They having no idea how large a role this would play in the future. DNA, investigative DNA was not even science fiction at that point.
Right. So am I right in interpreting your interview guest that he was kind of shocked at how well the crime scene was processed?
Yeah. I mean, I think that he was just like, I think that he had many aha moments when he's on the front lines of like, let me send this in, the oldest cold case that I have, let me send it in. And oh my gosh, there's a sample after all these years. How many times, I mean, this case that I'm working on right now that takes place in Clark County, like they have lost evidence. They have given evidence back to family members. I mean, they've lost the murder book. So it's like, I'm sure, and things happen, I'm not saying that it's like floods happen, the police department moves, I mean, it's a lot of years, but to have saved it and preserved, not only just saved it, but to have preserved it well enough that they could then send it to the lab. What?
No, it's crazy. It's crazy that it was still, they could still draw viable samples to the point where they came back with one name.
I know, but I loved how he described, I wanted 20 names because
He
that's
said he wanted 100.
Right.
Basically, and that was the other thing I want to talk about. That he wasn't saying that like, I want 100 names because I want it to be hard for me. He wanted 100 names because he thought that was shooting for the moon. Like, man, if I could get 100 names, I could probably figure this out and I could whittle it down. Right? Like that was like a best case scenario for him to get 100 names. He thought it could be 10,000 with all of this, and he came back with one freaking name.
No, I felt like that was so relatable, and I would do the same thing because you want to run it down. You're like chomping at the bit. Okay, oh my gosh, now I got something. Got something. Now I'm cooking with grease. I can go get all these samples. I can send them in, and maybe one of them. Just the idea of like one.
Go find this guy.
Right. I mean, the disappointing thing is that he was dead. Like that probably was like, man.
Shout out to Astapro for sponsoring this episode and providing us with free samples. This morning, I literally woke up with a runny, stuffy nose. In fact, it was so bad that my son came in and said, "Hey, Mom." And as I was talking, he was like, "Why is your nose whistling?" If you're a longtime allergy sufferer like me, then you'll know why. The whole one nostril plugged, the other one nearly so, except one little pocket of breathing space that sort of whistles as I breathe. I don't have time for this, and neither do you, which is why I use Astapro, and you should too. Astapro is a first-of-its-kind nasal allergy spray. It is the fastest 24-hour over-the-counter allergy spray. It starts working in 30 minutes, while other allergy sprays take hours. And Astapro is the first and only 24-hour steroid-free allergy spray. And Astapro delivers full prescription strength indoor and outdoor allergy relief from nasal congestion, runny and itchy nose, and sneezing. A combination that's not so fun. I use Astapro whenever my nasal allergies flare up, and I'm always so amazed and grateful at how fast I am back in the game, which is why I trust that Astapro always has my back, and more importantly, my nose. Get fast-acting nasal allergy symptom relief with Astapro. Go to astaproallergy.com for a discount so you can Astapro and go today. That's ASTEPRO allergy.com. Astapro and go. Use is directed for relief of nasal congestion, runny nose, sneezing, and itchy nose due to allergies. You know, they've done studies and it takes about a solid 2 months to create a good habit, which in the scheme of things doesn't sound long at all when you consider the long-term benefits of whatever it is you're trying to do. For many of us, doesn't it always come down to eating right and stress? For me, they go hand in hand. Because around day 4 to 5, you've had a rough go of it. Maybe your boss is a jerk, your commute stunk, fill in the blank. And then you get home, you don't want to cook because you didn't go grocery shopping. And even if you had, you don't want any of that stuff. You want a delicious, ooey gooey cheeseburger and fries. That'll make you feel better. But that's the thing. You and me both know it doesn't. So how do you stay on track when the stresses of life get you down and you're busy or tired or meh and you don't feel like cooking? Factor. Factor offers 2-minute meals that are restaurant quality and ready to heat and eat wherever and whenever you are. And you can get as much or as little as you need by choosing your meals every single week, which are delivered right to your door. So quit with the excuses and do something good for yourself. Give Factor's delicious, ready-to-eat meals a try. Every fresh, never frozen meal is chef-crafted and ready to go in just 2 minutes. You'll have over 35 different options to choose from, including Calorie Smart, Protein Plus, and Keto. So what are you waiting for? Get started today and get after your goals. Head to factormeals.com/mischief50. That's MISCHIEF 50 and use code MISCHIEF50 to get 50% off. That's code MISCHIEF50 at factormeals.com/mischief50 to get 50% off. Now, Shopify's already taken the cash register online, helping millions sell billions around the world. But did you know that Shopify can do the same thing at your retail store? Give your point of sale system a serious upgrade with Shopify. Shopify POS is your command center for your retail store. From accepting payments to managing inventory, Shopify has everything you need to sell in person. And with Shopify, you get a powerhouse selling partner that effortlessly unites your in-person and online sales into one source of truth, which means you can track every sale across your business in one place and know exactly what's in stock. You're connecting with customers inline and online. Shopify is also all about driving store traffic with plug-and-play tools built for marketing campaigns from TikTok to Instagram and beyond. And Shopify makes it so easy to get the hardware you need that fits your business. Take payments by smartphone, transform your tablet into a point-of-sale system, or use Shopify's POS Go mobile device for a battle-tested solution. Plus, Shopify's award-winning help is there to support your success every step of the way. Do retail right with Shopify. Sign up for a $1 per month trial period at shopify.com/mischief. That's MISCHIEF, all lowercase. Go to shopify.com/mischief to take your retail business to the next level today. Shopify.com/mischief.
It's Wednesday, Adams. I see you're trying to distract yourself from your own banal thoughts. Let me help. Here's a recording thing made of my latest root canal.
Wednesday, Season 2, begins August 6th, only on Netflix.
This episode is brought to you by State Farm. Checking off the boxes on your to-do list is a great feeling. And when it comes to checking off coverage, a State Farm agent can help you choose an option that's right for you. Whether you prefer talking in person, on the phone, or using the award-winning app, it's nice knowing you have help finding coverage that best fits your needs. Like a good neighbor, State Farm is there.
I loved how specific the forensic genealogist got with the methods. I hadn't heard it broken down like that before, which was really great. And she was so good at her stuff, that she knew that the Eastern European thing was going to be Polish. She goes, I knew it was going to be from Poland. I just knew it. And she was, because she'd seen it so many times. And then Definitely had a Native American grandparent, like a full-blooded Native American grandparent.
Mm-hmm.
I just really like how specific they can get with it. And it makes me really not ever want to get my DNA in a database, like ever.
I know. I know.
Have you done that yet?
I don't want to put my tinfoil hat on, especially because of the work that I do. But no, I don't. I
Oh, I have a
don't.
tinfoil hat on. My tinfoil hat is like a mane. It's like a Tutankhamun hat. It's like goes all the way down my spine.
Your mechanical spine.
Absolutely,
Like it plugs into your tinfoil hat. Oh my!
my robotic spine
my
interfaces with my tinfoil hat. Okay,
Great. Oh my gosh.
it really
Great.
does. It really does. No,
Yeah, I mean, I think it's great. But I think that in the future with corporations and everything, I just think that I don't know.
I don't know either. But so, all right. So anyway, so they get this DNA profile, they get it to
Mhm.
the guy, and then this detective who was, looking for the work to do the work. And then he just had one lead to track down. Let's go find this guy. Finds out that he died really young. He died at 46.
I know that's really young.
Diabetes. He had the sugars, is what we like to call it. He had the sugars.
I
So
mean, 46 is like really young.
probably genetic,
I
right?
don't know.
Diabetes can be passed on. I think you have genetic predisposition to maybe. I just because I knew a kid that I used to work with at the hotel. He was a skateboarder. He was in great shape, and he had terrible like type 2 diabetes, where he had the constant thing
He
like under
probably had the type 1 diabetes,
type
which
1,
is
whatever. Yeah, type
yes,
1,
type
type 1.
1
Where to
is
get
totally
insulin like
different
all
than
the
type
time.
2. Yeah, I mean, type 1 is totally different than type 2. Type 2 is diet and I think, related and exercise and things like that.
The
But
sugars. Now that's what they call the sugars. Okay.
got it.
So if this guy had type 1, okay.
Mhm.
There was a great comedian who died young in the 90s, Nick Freno, I forget his name. Insulin shock. He died.
Oh my
Yeah,
gosh.
I know. So maybe it was something like that. Huh. Um, so this guy tracked down one of his kids, and they played ball.
I know.
And it was like
I mean, I love that description of like what he went through, trying to think of what he was going to say. Cause I feel like, as a journalist, I've done that too, but different, just
Yeah.
kind of like, you're going to approach someone. How are you going to do it? What are you, I mean, I haven't like sat there and, staked out someone's house like that, but
Right.
just kind of like, what's the approach going to be? What, and at the end of it, he's like, I need to know. I need
Yeah.
to know. I need to
I
just
know.
get this done.
And it's got to
You
be a
know?
weird call. He said, like, someone goes, "Hey, someone you're related to is suspected of being a murderer. We need a DNA sample to find out." Right? I don't know what I would do. I would try to guess who I would try to guess who the relative is first, right? And I've got a list of like probably the top 3 guesses, and I'd be right. I'd be right. But then I would honestly be reluctant to do it because of my tinfoil hat.
Okay, well, you got to tell me what do you think? Why?
Look, I don't know. Here's what about the whole DNA collection and what I would do if someone asked me that.
Well, that's a separate one. That's after the first one. I want to know what your tinfoil hat is. Why?
Well, look, okay. Police are allowed to lie to you.
Mhm.
Okay, they're allowed. They're trained on how to lie to you to kind of get what they want. So they can tell you anything. So if someone came to my house and said, "Hey, a relative of yours is suspected of committing murder. We need a DNA sample," I wouldn't believe them. I wouldn't think that what they were telling me, the reason they want my DNA, would be legitimate. So
But if you found out and you were convinced that it was legitimate, why would you not want to do it?
There's just too okay, because DNA is like the gold standard for putting people away, for taking people's freedom away. Okay, and it's like infallible. Okay,
Mhm.
so if my DNA isn't in the system, then there isn't a way really, like, because someone could like replace samples. It was something stupid, something like really, really, really conspiratorial. If someone was really out to get you, and then how would you combat that? That's not my DNA. The samples were switched. Oh, sure, dude. Okay, yeah, the samples were switched.
So you really are that paranoid with the police? That's your tinfoil hat?
Yeah.
Okay. See, I'm not. Although I can see why. I see what you're saying. I see your point. But like for me, it's just like in the future, we don't know how people are going to, how DNA is going to affect like healthcare, and like what if you have some kind of weird, rare, DNA genetic thing in your
It's all
family.
in there. It's all
in there. And so I just, until we know, like,
so it's privacy for you.
It's for me, it's a privacy thing.
Yeah.
It's if somebody said, hey, we think this person did it, the family just needs to know, please give us your DNA. We will destroy it afterwards.
Sure, we'll destroy it afterwards.
Okay. I would then do it. But just to do it, if I go to a Mariners game with my son and they're like, hey, do 23andMe and you'll get it for free and you'll find out what you're doing. Let's just sign this waiver. It's like, what are we signing? What are you doing with it?
Yep.
That's the thing that gets me,
And it might not even be necessary. Okay, because we still have like a Fourth Amendment against unreasonable search and seizure, and I'm sure that covers blood draws, that covers mouth swabs, like pretty strongly. There are other instances where they can force a DNA sample out of you. Okay,
yeah.
But in this case, there you could make an argument that what the genealogist was able to find, absent the actual guy's DNA sample, he could have been convicted on that anyway. We've got the sample from the victim. We've got the whole DNA profile, and we have the kid's DNA, which tells us that the sample came from, it is 100% certain that the sample came from a relative of these two children, right? Like a direct,
Right. But this was 2018. So this was right when the whole thing was getting started. And like, what is the burden of proof to prove it? Right. And he did say this could be, just because they're related, it doesn't mean that he's the father. Maybe in 2018, the tests weren't strong enough to be able to, because, it's changed so much. It's now 2024. So a lot has changed.
Oh, yeah.
In just 6 years. But they needed that absolute proof. Yes, this is the DNA belonged to this guy. It wasn't good enough to just have the offsprings. We need to go to the source to make sure that it's not his brother,
And so what I'm saying, eventually, I think it's going to get to the point where it will be enough, that they will be able to say it was the male parent of this person with 100% certainty.
And we might even be there now.
We're probably there now.
We're probably there now. Yeah, we probably are. Yeah.
So all of my conspiratorial nonsense probably won't matter if, my brother or one of my daughters or my mom or dad give a sample. They'll be able to find me anyway. That's when I go to the bunker.
You know what? I think that there's just something about, I don't think you are. Remember, we've had a conversation about you wanting to turn it into a quote unquote, like, hey, do you want to stay in the guest house or do you want to stay in the bunker? Okay, Branden.
How cool would that be, though, to have that choice?
I'm tracking your cray-cray, okay?
It'd be a pretty cool choice to have. I'll choose the bunker.
Not in California when there's the earthquakes come on. What? Okay.
Whatever.
Anyway, I think that there's just something about, having your privacy. It's not, but for me, that would fall short if I really, wanted to help the family and I believed that it was true. I would totally do it.
Yeah, I agree. I still wouldn't, but I agree with the sentiment. But I still wouldn't do it. But it's incredible where the technology's gone. I read a book by an attorney, Vincent Bugliosi. He wrote Helter Skelter about the Manson murders, and he wrote the definitive kind of book on the O.J. Simpson trial. His book was called Outrage: The 5 Reasons O.J. Simpson Got Away with Murder. It was a fascinating book. And one of the main chapters was about how the defense was able to pick apart the general misunderstanding, or lack of understanding, I should say, that the general public and therefore the jury had with regard to DNA, and how shitty of a job the prosecution did explaining it to them. Okay. So, because one of the main things that the defense was able to point out was that there was a possibility that one of the DNA samples was corrupted, or was, corrupted isn't the right word, but it was compromised or something like that, right? Could have been mixed with another sample, or could have been whatever. Okay. And so therefore it's got to be thrown out. It's all bullshit. Maybe get reasonable doubt from that. And this is what Bugliosi had to say. All the prosecution had to tell them was like, listen, even if this sample were corrupted, if the sample were compromised, and we still got a match to this man, despite all of that, that makes it even stronger evidence. And they didn't explain it that way. And so he was basically railing against that. The reason that OJ got away with it was because the technology was new and it wasn't properly explained to the jury, and that was exploited knowingly by the defense. So that was
Yeah, remember the case that we covered with the little girl who was kidnapped by that guy with the RV? And I did that interview with that woman who was on that team and collected that forensic evidence, and she really went through it all. And she was like, hey, we got lucky because we were on the heels of the O.J. Simpson case, where we saw everything that they did wrong, everything because it was so new. And it was like, this was the first kind of big case, with the DNA. And, it's like, you feel bad. Absolutely. Because, it's hard being the first,
Yeah, absolutely. But there were trailblazers in a sense, and that introduced it to the public at large. And so that was a good introduction, and our understanding has only grown kind of since then. And now I think everybody gets it. Everybody gets it. It's the gold standard. Oh, they have DNA. He's fucked. That's it. Okay. He's got DNA. Boom. So, which is great. How far we've come with that, from the first fingerprints that were taken back in the 1880s, right? To DNA profile of your descendants, to get down to one name, a name that didn't exist until a company on the other side of the country ran a 50-year-old DNA sample.
Yeah.
And came back with a first and last name of a person.
I know. It's incredible. And on top of that, I was shocked with the APHIS. I couldn't believe it. Are you kidding me? And on the West Coast, it wasn't even in, even though the FBI became in play, I think in 1974 with the FBI, it wasn't in place with these Western states like Washington and Oregon. They all got together and hey, we need to create our own APHIS. And that wasn't until the early 90s. Yep. And so people were putting stuff in, can you imagine? Even in 1967, that seems crazy to me that they're going through their little files. You can see them with their file cards and try to go like this with their glass,
magnifying glass.
I mean, no wonder. How are you going to find this guy? Right.
Yeah.
I mean,
I read something weird, and I don't know if it's true or not, and I'd like you to check my work on it. I read that the distinguishing characteristic of fingerprints is less the swirls and more the
ridges.
The ridges, exactly, and the height and the depth of the valleys and the ridges.
Mm-hmm.
You heard that also?
I've heard that too. Yeah.
That's crazy.
Let me guess. You wouldn't give your fingerprints.
No. Absolutely not. Absolutely not. I don't throw out anything in public. I burn all my trash. Laugh. Yeah. Yuck it up. Osorio. You wait and see what happens. Okay. Burn all my trash.
Oh my gosh.
Burn pit in the backyard. Yeah. So
what's funny is that you haven't even done anything.
that you know of. No, I'm kidding. I've told this story before, but a kid I used to work with, I was taking a weekend trip. This is before my wife and I were even married. We were going to Joshua Tree, right? To go out in the desert with our friends and we were in the stars and camping and all that bullshit, right? And my friend is like, okay, take your trash with you. I'm like, what are you talking about? What are you talking about? Leave with my trash? They have trash cans all over the place out there. It's a tourist destination. He goes, dude, no way, man. You have no idea how many times a body shows up in the desert and the cops just go to the nearest trash can, pull a fingerprint off a beer can, boom. Boom, you're going away for life. Like, it's not that easy. It's not just boom, you're going away for life because a fingerprint is on a beer can and no. So I'm not. I mean,
let's just look at the clown. I'm surprised you didn't bring up that clown.
I didn't want to talk about the clown. The clown, look, man, the clown that's the stuff of nightmares. A clown walking you alone through an empty parking garage when everything else is closed. That's the beginning of a horror. That's it. That's a horror movie. And that it wasn't the clown fucked me up. That it wasn't the clown. Okay, that the clown was cleared.
I mean, the fact that the clown was acting like a weirdo, the fact that, I mean, just all the things that
lying to the cops. I didn't know her. And when he said, and he was like a clown doing clown stuff. He had the big shoes, and during the interview, he kept honking his nose. I
mean, and you could tell, see, when I was talking to him, I felt he was getting a little hot when I was saying, oh yeah. And if it would have been some detective that was like out for blood, the clown would be away. And he's like, oh, there wasn't enough evidence. Like, there's people who have been put away for less.
But what's weird about the whole clown thing, and then we could end with this, is that he was acting weird.
Mm-hmm.
He denied even knowing the victim when it was very well established that they were friends. Okay. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. And then he just suddenly quits his job.
Right.
Because he wants a change of scenery. What else do you do if you're a clown? What do you do with the costume? What do you do? I mean, you go from being a clown to doing something else. If you're a clown, you're a clown.
Mm-hmm. No, I mean, it's very suspicious, and you act very suspicious. He was acting very suspicious. Yeah. So, I mean, I think that's more terrifying than the DNA stuff. It's like, if you get someone that's hot on your trail and they don't think that you're telling the truth, and there's things that have happened that are just, he quit his job. Like, I mean, we don't know what that context of what was going on. I mean, he could have hated his boss for like months, and then that was the final straw. It was a coincidence.
Or maybe he was scared that he would be killed next because he spent time in that area. Like, who knows? He could have gotten scared of the murder. You never know.
He got scared of the murder. I think he probably was like, hey, I was better get out of Dodge here.
Someone got her before I did. I don't know. Who knows? If he was a weirdo, like, you never know. But bottom line is he was
innocent.
He was cleared.
He was innocent.
He was cleared.
Through DNA. So that's something to think about, Branden. You could be cleared through your DNA.
Yeah, you could be. Sure, you could.
You could be.
You could also be railroaded. Burn your trash, people. Burn your trash.
Okay. All right. I think we
Yes. Well, thank you for this episode. Again, I love all the investigative stuff. I love learning how the genealogists build their profiles. That was super interesting. And the big shock was that it wasn't the clown, because let's face it, clowns are murderers. So thank you, everybody. We hope you enjoyed the show. If you did, head over to Apple and rate and review the show. Maybe share with your friends if you're so inclined. And please, as always, consider supporting the great companies that support our show, because without them, we couldn't do it. For Criminal Mischief, my name is Branden. Carolyn, anything you'd like to add?
Nope. Have a great week.
Thank you, everybody. Until next time, stay safe out there.
From Cloud 10, Criminal Mischief is a pie-in-the-sky production recorded in the beautiful Pacific Northwest. We're produced by Branden Morgan and myself. Music by Soundstripe. I'm Carolyn Osorio, your writer and host.